So Rebecca, today what we're going to do is we're going to take off and we're going to head over to Alliance.
Yep.
And we're going to do a bunch of traffic patterns. What
Okay.
I'm looking for, two things before I solo my students. I'm looking for consistency
Yep.
and safety.
Yep.
Okay. So are you safe?
This is Rebecca with privatepilot.guide. I'm here with instructor Brad and we're going to work up at a towered airport to work on my skills for solo. So this is the first time actually being in the airplane on my own. I get to go and get some fuel from the pump. So this is my first endorsement, being allowed to do some groundwork. Okay, so start. We have got our track ready, our seatbelts ready. We are going to make sure the avionics off, carburetor heat is off, mixture to full rich and out a little bit. We're going to prime the airplane. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way out and in flight. Brakes are set. We're going to say, clear the prop! Master on. Magneto's on. 1, 2, 3. Oil cap secure, fuel cap secure, tow bar removed. Ready and looking at whether my instruments come alive. So I did it. I refueled and now I'm ready to go back to the hangar. It started to rain a little bit, so I'm guessing we're not flying straight away.
And we're going to spend quite a bit of time in traffic pattern getting you prepared for solo.
Okay.
Any questions?
Yeah.
Yep.
Twice on my landings, I felt like so I'm coming down. I'm at 60 miles per hour, and normally my nose is pretty low. But there was a point in 2 of our landings where my nose felt like it was going a bit high, and I put my nose down and I dropped. Does that make sense?
It does, and probably what happened is you caught a gust of wind.
I know I'm not quite ready to go in solo because I do not feel confident with landings.
You have to touch the power one time.
Yeah.
When we're beaming the numbers, we set that 1700. We shouldn't touch it until we come in here and we go, okay, the landing's made, out.
Okay.
If we do everything perfect, we shouldn't have to touch that power.
Okay.
Problems happen mechanically with an airplane when you mess with the power.
Right.
It's statistically shown that the more you mess with the power, that's when the engine could fail. If it's running and you got it set at 1700, you just ride it all the way around until you're landing assured, then pull it out.
Okay.
We do a clearing turn so that we can see anyone in the traffic pattern. This is a non-towered airport, so anyone can land without even using their radios. So we head off, ready to do some practice work. I'm still quite reliant on instructors to help me figure out how the wind is affecting the airplane at the moment. Brad is working through showing me how I should be taxiing considering this level of crosswind, and how I should correct both taking off and landing. I've been working a lot on radio practice at home. I feel a lot more confident speaking out loud on the radio. However, I still find some of the sentences spoken really quickly and hard to differentiate or understand. So I've been listening to live ATC as a way of practicing, and I've been writing down what the controller says and what I would have said. Now I know Brad is trying really hard not to help, but even his small suggestions, his slight tweaks, is amending my flight path. And if I was going to go and do this landing solo, I wouldn't have his advice as to nose pitch or bringing back the yoke right at the last second. It's incredibly frustrating to be at this stage in my flying journey and still not feeling confident at landing the airplane. It's quite clear from the videos that I'm ballooning, that I'm not pitching the airplane correctly. And Brad will not let me fail, and so he's constantly making adjustments verbally and physically if needed to try and make sure that I'm as close to succeeding for each landing as possible. And each landing seems to be just as bad as the last. Unfortunately, I'm not making progress in today's lesson, and unfortunately Brad can see that, and so after our next attempt, we head back to Hicks.
So, long period today.
Yep.
We did 1.5.
Yeah, it's quite a bit longer than that.
And students learn, everyone learns, humans learn. They do really well at first, and then they reach what we call a plateau. And then, so you're hitting one of your plateaus.
Okay.
And you're at this plateau and you're like, oh, I just want to get this. And it will come. I understand the frustration. I've been there. Luke's been there. Every pilot that's learned how to fly has been there before. What's happening with your landings is your traffic pattern is not consistent.
Okay.
We're getting too low, and then we're having to add power, and then we're getting too high, and then we're back on it, and then so it's not consistent. And that's one of the two things I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Safety, you're safe, and consistency.
Yeah.
We don't have consistency yet. We're working on it. We're getting there.
Okay.
And the frustration sets in because you just want to get it. I just want to land it. I can do this. But at some point, like I talked about on our taxi in, you're a sponge, and now you've soaked up all the water that you can right now, and you can't absorb anymore. You're tired. You're frustrated. You're like, ugh. So what we need to do is wring the sponge out and come back another day, and you'll pick up on it. It's when it clicks, it's going to click, and I promise it's coming. I promise it's coming.
Isn't Brad the loveliest? But unfortunately this video is actually really hard to review. I know I wasn't ready for solo, and I wasn't stressed about it, but I was experiencing pressure from people in my aviation community to solo. Soloing is a marker of success. It's a certain level of proficiency, and in decades past, it was common to solo in the first 5 or 10 hours of training. Being at 15 hours, everyone was beginning to ask what was going wrong with my training. I, however, knew I wasn't behind. I was still learning so many new concepts every single day. A lot of it was bookwork, and I was still making progress in my flight training. I'm just a slow and steady wins race kind of person, and having pressure from around me was definitely upsetting, and I cried a lot this evening. There is no time limit to completing your training, and anyone who's forcing you or making you feel like you're too slow is doing the wrong thing. If you've experienced any pressure around completing your solo flight, I would love to hear your comments and ideas and guidance in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Every single like, comment and watch really helps.